A chatbot can write a perfect patch and still accomplish nothing. The code sits inside a message. The developer copies it into the wrong file, discovers the imports are fictional, and returns to chat carrying a compiler error like a disappointed parent. Claude Code escaped that box. Anthropic's account of the product begins with an internal command line tool. The important decision was not adding a more elaborate chat surface. It was placing the model inside the developer's working environment. In the terminal, an agent can inspect the repository, search references, edit the actual files, run commands, observe failures, and try again. That closes the loop between language and ground truth. A normal chat interaction has two worlds. The model sees the code the user pasted. The developer sees the real repository. Every omitted file, unstated convention, generated artifact, test command, and dependency version lives in the gap. A repository agent can narrow that gap by gathering context directly. It can read the package manifest, find the existing pattern, inspect the failing test, and verify the change in the same environment. The terminal also gives the interface discipline. There is no need to simulate an entire development environment inside a chat card. The editor already edits. Git already records changes. The test runner already tests. The agent becomes a coordinator across tools developers trust. Consider a bug. Users with expired sessions are redirected in a loop. A chat model receives one middleware file and suggests changing a condition. A repository agent starts by reproducing the failure. It searches for session refresh logic, redirect rules, and existing tests. It draws the path from request to middleware to refresh endpoint. Then it changes the smallest boundary that breaks the loop. After editing, it runs the targeted test. If that passes, it runs related authentication tests. It inspects the diff and explains which behavior changed. The intelligence is not only the code it generated, it is the sequence of evidence it collected. Anthropic's broader guidance on effective agents emphasizes this loop. Agents plan, act, observe ground truth from the environment, and adjust. The model can remain wrong for several steps, but the environment gives it a chance to discover the mistake. That is also why commands must return useful output. A test tool should expose the failing assertion, file, and exit status. A search tool should return focused matches with paths. A build command should not bury the actual error under 10,000 lines of progress animation. The quality of an agent-computer interface can matter as much as another benchmark point. Claude Code also benefited from being scriptable. A terminal tool fits existing workflows. It can run beside an editor inside a remote machine, or against a repository without demanding that every developer move into a new visual product. Text is composable. It can be piped, logged, reviewed, and versioned. That does not mean the command line is magical. It can be hostile to new users. Long transcripts become difficult to navigate. A dangerous command looks almost identical to a safe one until the file system begins making new career choices. Permissions and previews therefore matter. Read operations can often proceed broadly inside the repository. File changes should remain visible as a diff. Network access, secret access, package publication, destructive commands, and external messages need stronger controls. The agent should not gain more authority because the interface has fewer pixels. Repository instructions are another part of the escape. An agent performs better when the project states how to build, test, format, and review changes. A short instruction file can tell it which directories are generated, which commands are expensive, and which architectural constraints must remain. That converts tribal knowledge into executable context. But instructions need hierarchy and maintenance. A stale rule can reliably produce the wrong behavior. Keep the file short, concrete, and test it against real tasks. Git turns the terminal into a safety mechanism when the workflow uses it deliberately. Start from a known revision. Keep unrelated changes untouched. Let the agent produce small inspectable diffs and checkpoint long work before risky experiments. For parallel tasks, isolate branches or work trees so two agents cannot lovingly improve the same function in opposite directions. The model provides momentum. Version control provides the ability to say absolutely not. Restore the previous state and explain what changed. The product lesson extends beyond coding. If you are building an agent for finance, place it near the ledger and the validation rules. If you are building a design agent, let it inspect the rendered output, not only the source description. If you are building a support agent, connect it to the current order state and policy evidence. Do not build a giant chat interface and expect the user to manually carry truth across the boundary. Keep the model close to the artifact it must change and the oracle that can prove success. Claude Code's CLI origin also explains why minimalism can outperform spectacle. The interface leaves room for the work. A developer asks for an outcome, sees the plan, reviews the changes, and observes commands. The agent does not need a digital avatar nodding thoughtfully while the tests fail. What should you copy from this design? Start with the environment loop. Define what the agent can inspect, change, execute, and verify. Expose small, clear tools, return structured failures. Preserve an audit trail. Keep irreversible consequences behind approval. Let existing systems remain the source of truth. Then choose the interface that makes those mechanics visible. It may be a terminal, editor panel, web application, or background task. Claude Code did not escape the chat box because chat is useless or because terminals grant mystical engineering powers. It escaped because software work happens in repositories, processes, diffs, and tests. Once the model could touch that reality and listen when reality said no, it stopped being a code suggestion machine. It became an agent.